Consistency is one of the most powerful habits a woman can carry because it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about showing up, staying steady, and refusing to quit when things get tough. Consistency builds trust in yourself and from others, and that trust becomes the foundation on which everything else rests. When a woman commits to something and follows through with it over and over again, she starts proving to herself that she can be counted on. That inner trust is powerful because so many people doubt their own abilities, they hesitate, they question themselves, and they end up stuck. But when you stay consistent, you don't have to wonder if you can handle challenges. You know you can because you've already shown yourself in the past that you don't give up easily. Each day that you do what you said you would do, you reinforce the belief that you are reliable, and that belief becomes unshakable. It is not about perfection or flawless performance. It is about proving to yourself that you have the strength to keep showing up even when conditions aren't ideal. Over time, that creates a mindset of confidence, discipline, and self-respect. And when you have that trust in yourself, it radiates outward and others begin to see you as someone they can rely on. Trust from others doesn't come overnight. It is built little by little through consistent action. People are constantly observing, noticing whether your words align with your actions, whether your promises are followed by delivery, and whether you remain steady even when situations shift. When you show up consistently, others begin to see that you are not swayed by moods or convenience. You demonstrate that you can be counted on regardless of how you feel or what distractions come your way. This reliability makes you stand out because in a world where many start strong but fade quickly, the ones who stay steady gain respect and credibility. People are drawn to those they can trust, and they give opportunities, responsibilities, and leadership to the ones who prove themselves over time. Trust also grows stronger because consistency creates predictability. When others can predict your behavior based on your track record, they feel safe placing their confidence in you. This kind of trust can open doors in relationships, in careers, in friendships, and in leadership. A consistent woman is often the one people lean on when they need stability because they know she will not disappear when challenges arise. That reputation is powerful, and it all begins with the simple but rare habit of doing what you say you will do day after day. Consistency also helps remove the fear of failure, because when you are consistent, you understand that progress is not about one big win. It's about a series of small wins stacked over time. That mindset makes you less dependent on outside approval and more confident in your own ability to figure things out. People notice that attitude, they see the steadiness, and they naturally place their trust in you because they know you're not easily shaken. Trust from others is not just about believing you won't let them down. It's about believing that you will keep working toward the goal even if the road gets hard. The beauty of consistency is that it builds credibility both internally and externally at the same time. You gain personal assurance that you can be counted on, and at the same time, you gain the respect and reliance of the people around you. This dual trust creates opportunities that inconsistency could never unlock. It's not about making a single impressive effort. It's about proving through repeated actions that you have the strength, patience, and discipline to endure. That is why women who stay consistent always win, because the trust they build becomes the unshakable foundation that supports everything they achieve. Small daily actions create long-term success because the things that seem insignificant in the moment are actually the very building blocks of a greater future. It is easy to look at someone who has achieved something extraordinary and assume they got there through massive breakthroughs or sudden opportunities. But when you look closely, it is almost always the little things they did consistently that added up to something remarkable. Success is rarely the product of one big moment. It is the accumulation of repeated steps taken with intention and persistence. When a woman chooses to commit to small actions every single day, whether that's reading for a few minutes, exercising, practicing a skill, nurturing her relationships, or showing up in her work with focus, she is laying bricks one by one toward the life she envisions. The power of these small actions lies in their compounding effect. Just like a seed planted in the ground seems invisible at first, but eventually grows into a strong tree, small habits may not look like they are making much of a difference in the beginning, but over time they transform everything. The human mind often underestimates what can be accomplished in years, while overestimating what can be achieved in days. That's why so many people quit early when they don't see immediate results. But women who stay committed to their small daily actions understand that results come gradually, that progress builds quietly behind the scenes, and that what they do today matters because it lays the foundation for tomorrow. Each small action is like a vote for the kind of woman you are becoming. When you choose to wake up and follow through on your commitments, you are not just completing a task, you are reinforcing your identity as someone who is disciplined, someone who is intentional, someone who values growth. These daily decisions accumulate into habits, and habits shape character. Over time, that character becomes the engine that drives long-term success. The woman who invests 10 minutes a day in her growth will outpace the one who waits for the perfect day to invest hours. The woman who saves a little consistently will create financial security more reliably than the one who tries to save a huge amount once in a while. Success is not in the intensity of one-time effort, but in the consistency of small steps taken daily. The beauty of small daily actions is that they remove the overwhelming pressure of trying to do everything at once. When you break success down into manageable steps, you realize that greatness isn't as distant as it seems. Reading one chapter a day turns into dozens of books a year. Writing a few lines daily becomes a completed manuscript. Choosing healthier meals each day transforms into a stronger body. Small actions remove excuses because they are doable, and once they are repeated, they gain momentum. Momentum is what carries you forward, even when motivation fades. It is not about how much you do at once, but about how often you return to the action. Another truth about small daily actions is that they prepare you for opportunities you cannot yet see. Many times, doors open for those who are already prepared through steady practice. You never know when consistency in the small things will suddenly position you for something bigger. That is why women who embrace small daily actions create long-term success without even realizing it in the moment. They are planting seeds every single day, and with time, those seeds grow into results so significant that others may call them lucky, when in reality, it was their quiet daily commitment that made everything possible. Discipline beats motivation every time because motivation is a feeling and feelings change. But discipline is a decision, and decisions shape your life. Motivation is exciting when it shows up. It can push you to start, but it is unreliable because it fades the moment circumstances get difficult or distractions appear. Discipline, on the other hand, is what keeps you moving even when you do not feel like it, even when the energy is gone, even when no one is cheering you on. That is why the women who achieve real success are not the ones who wait for motivation to strike, but the ones who have trained themselves to act regardless of how they feel in the moment. When you rely only on motivation, you will find yourself stuck in cycles of starting strong and then stopping the moment challenges arise. Motivation might get you to the gym once, but discipline gets you there day after day. Motivation might inspire you to begin a project, but discipline ensures you finish it. Motivation might fuel a temporary spark of confidence, but discipline creates steady growth that turns into unshakable confidence over time. Discipline is the bridge between goals and results because it transforms intention into action and keeps that action going long enough to see the outcome. Discipline is also powerful because it trains your mind to rise above excuses. Excuses are always easy to find, and they often sound reasonable, but discipline refuses to give them power. A disciplined woman doesn't ask herself if she feels like doing it. She simply does it because she already committed. That kind of mindset removes the endless back and forth of decision making and replaces it with clarity. The choice has already been made in advance, so the action becomes automatic. This is how habits are formed, and habits are what ultimately shape your future. Discipline builds habits that support success, and those habits carry you forward even when motivation disappears completely. Another strength of discipline is that it creates consistency, and consistency creates momentum. Once momentum is built, it becomes harder to stop than to keep going. A woman who practices discipline in her daily life finds that success begins to feel less about huge effort and more about rhythm. She trains herself to push through discomfort, to keep her word, and to focus on the bigger picture instead of the temporary struggle. That endurance builds resilience, and resilience is what allows her to handle greater challenges in the future. Discipline also frees you from the trap of waiting for the perfect conditions. Motivation often waits for inspiration, the right mood, or ideal circumstances, but those rarely come. Discipline says you show up no matter what, and in showing up, you create progress where others remain stuck. This progress compounds over time, leading to results that look extraordinary to the outside world, but were simply the product of disciplined daily effort. Ultimately, discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Motivation may light the fire, but discipline keeps it burning through storms, setbacks, and seasons of doubt. It is the quiet force behind every great achievement because it does not rely on fleeting feelings. It relies on commitment, strength, and the choice to act again and again, no matter how hard the journey becomes. Consistent women turn setbacks into setups because they understand that failure is not a signal to quit, but an opportunity to learn, adapt, and rise stronger. Life will never move in a straight line. There will always be obstacles, disappointments, and unexpected turns. But the woman who has built consistency in her habits and mindset knows that setbacks are not the end of the road. Instead, they are detours that teach her something she could not have learned otherwise. While many people allow failure to break their confidence, a consistent woman uses it to sharpen her focus. She knows that every difficulty carries within it a lesson, and because she has trained herself to keep showing up, she has the patience to find that lesson and apply it. Setbacks test the strength of your commitment. When things are easy, it does not take much to keep going, but when the challenges appear, it reveals who is truly committed. Consistent women prove their strength in these moments because they do not measure success by one event, but by the overall direction of their journey. If one plan fails, they create another. If one door closes, they knock on the next. They do not waste time complaining about what went wrong because their focus is on what can still be done. That mindset turns what looks like a setback into a setup for growth and greater achievement. Every obstacle faced consistently builds resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, and it grows stronger every time it is tested. A woman who practices consistency understands that resilience is not developed when life is smooth. It is developed when she keeps showing up after being knocked down. That is why she views setbacks differently from most people. Where others see failure, she sees training. Where others see loss, she sees preparation. Every challenge becomes a tool that equips her for bigger responsibilities, deeper wisdom, and stronger confidence. Another reason consistent women turn setbacks into setups is because they do not define themselves by a single outcome. They know that one mistake does not erase their potential, one failure does not define their worth, and one delay does not mean their dream is impossible. Instead, they keep their eyes on the bigger vision. That vision gives them the strength to endure short-term struggles because they believe in long-term results. This belief allows them to step back from the disappointment of the moment and see how it fits into the larger picture. That perspective changes everything because when you realize that setbacks are temporary, you gain the courage to keep moving forward. Consistency also gives them the discipline to act even when they feel discouraged. Many people stop at the point of frustration, but consistent women have built the habit of continuing regardless of emotion. That habit means they keep planting seeds even in seasons where the soil looks dry, trusting that growth will come later. This determination creates opportunities they would never experience if they had quit too soon. What once looked like failure eventually reveals itself as preparation for something greater. Setbacks also refine character. When things don't go as planned, it humbles you, it stretches you, and it forces you to face weaknesses that need strengthening. Consistent women embrace that refining process instead of running from it. They know that strength without struggle is shallow, but strength built through setbacks is unshakable. That is why they see every obstacle as a setup, because each one adds depth to who they are becoming. It builds patience, grit, and wisdom. And these are qualities that not only lead to success, but sustain it when it arrives. Through this mindset, consistent women turn what was meant to stop them into what positions them for greater impact. They understand that the journey to success is not about avoiding setbacks, but about transforming them into stepping stones. By staying consistent, they build the resilience, perspective, and strength to turn every failure into fuel for their future. Staying consistent makes you unstoppable because it transforms you into a force that cannot be easily shaken by circumstances, opinions, or temporary emotions. When a woman decides that she will keep showing up regardless of how she feels, regardless of how slow the progress seems, regardless of how many challenges come her way, she becomes a person that no obstacle can permanently hold back. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum builds strength. And that strength over time creates an unstoppable spirit that knows how to keep going when others give up. Many people start strong with bursts of excitement, but they fade the moment the journey gets hard. The woman who stays consistent keeps moving even when the excitement disappears, and that endurance is what separates her from the rest. Being unstoppable does not mean you never face difficulties. It means that difficulties cannot stop you. It means you have built such a habit of persistence that setbacks only slow you down temporarily, but they never bring you to a full stop. Consistency teaches you to keep taking action, and repeated action builds resilience, and resilience makes you unstoppable. No matter what challenges appear, your discipline has trained you to push forward one step at a time. That mindset prevents you from being paralyzed by fear or overwhelmed by the size of your goals. You learn to keep going in small steps until suddenly you realize you have traveled further than you ever thought possible. Staying consistent also makes you unstoppable because it rewires the way you see yourself. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. That proof builds inner confidence that cannot be shaken by the opinions of others. When you know deep down that you can rely on yourself to stay consistent, you no longer need external validation to keep moving. You carry an internal drive that says, no matter what happens, you will not quit. That level of self-trust is rare, and it makes you untouchable in a world where so many give up too quickly. Another reason consistency makes you unstoppable is because it compounds results in ways that are invisible at first but undeniable over time. The woman who practices her craft daily eventually outperforms the one who only works when inspired. The woman who keeps showing up in her relationships with care and presence eventually builds deeper bonds than the one who only invests occasionally. The woman who saves, studies, or works steadily day after day creates opportunities that seem impossible to those who only wish for them. What begins as ordinary daily action transforms into extraordinary long-term success, and that transformation gives her unstoppable momentum. Consistency also makes you unstoppable because it gives you clarity in a world full of distractions. When you are consistent, you are not easily pulled off course by trends, moods, or temporary setbacks. You know where you are going, and you keep moving toward it no matter what noise surrounds you. This clarity prevents you from wasting energy starting over again and again because you never abandoned the path in the first place. Every step builds on the last, and that steady forward motion makes you more powerful with time. The unstoppable nature of consistency also comes from the patience it builds. Success does not come instantly, and those who demand quick results often quit too soon. But a consistent woman develops patience because she has trained herself to value progress over perfection and endurance over excitement. She learns to wait, to persist, and to trust the process. That patience allows her to weather storms that would crush others. While others see difficulty as a wall, she sees it as a test of how badly she wants it. And because she has built her life on the habit of consistency, she keeps pressing until the wall breaks. Ultimately, staying consistent makes you unstoppable because it turns you into a woman who cannot be broken by circumstances, slowed by doubt, or distracted by temporary failures. You become steady, resilient, and powerful because you know that no matter what happens, you will keep going.